Guys, if you want to be like, if you like want to be like Gene and Dean, right? Gene and Dean, that's a nice rhyme, right? So switch your camera on. I like to look at some faces. Hey, Derek, you are already an idol for everybody else here too, right? So switch on your cameras. We love to look at some faces. That gives me the feeling in Korean that we're kind of real here, right?
As close as we can get without showing our legs right now. I think just having this fireside fireside chat mode is always the way we like to have it, so that we can all kind of share notes and learn and work together. It's good to see you in here, Mario and Paul and Jared. Happy to have you. Do you want to leave it just a couple more minutes, probably, as people start to trickle in? But Robin is going to kick us off today. Just so you guys know, while he's going through the presentation, feel free to comment and chat with me on the side. I'm always watching those things, and then we'll always have time for Q&A. We'll ask you to raise your hand, and that's really when we get into that a special fireside chat mode.
Right, hey, Mario. Kick it off,
Nice.
Korean. Let's dive into it. We have a lot to talk about today, right?
Yes, please. I think today's going to be good. Welcome, Brenda. Good to see you here.
Cool.
Yes, Derek, I was in Callan's recent A2A course.
Actually, we were all there, right?
Pretty loud.
Like we brought the whole
Yeah.
team, right? Kellen said you can bring VAs. We came with 20 people, right?
Yeah, and I was pretty loud because honestly, my mind was getting blown like just over and over and over again. And now I've been using a lot of those tools and techniques. And she actually came here to one of our Q&As, talked through some of the basics, but we're going to have her back again because every time she opens her mouth, it's like a new thing that you can implement in your business. So hopefully you can find more freedom. So we love having her as a coach here.
Yeah, I missed about a month of that because I was off the net, so I got to go back and watch it all. Because the limited sessions I did sit in were pretty amazing.
Yeah, she right about in the middle, she brought up clay.com and we all went, and I think a lot of us had to step away for a second. But I'm going to be revisiting the recordings, that's for sure. All right, Robin, are you ready to kick it off? I know you've got a presentation for us today and some goodies.
Okay, guys, let me kick you off. First of all, welcome and hello. I'm super happy to have everybody here at 6 p.m. EST or 6:04 meanwhile, right? 5 p.m. CST, that's where I am. Gene, maybe we can meet up. I'm in Dallas right now, so maybe we for a couple of months. So I would love to see you. Maybe we can make something happen. Other than that said, I hope everybody of you had an awesome week. We see right now a lot of magic happening in the market. Summer is over. People are active, no matter if it's sellers, buyers, funders. Everybody is back in business. And yeah, today I want to talk with you a little bit about like really how do you build a sustainable business, especially utilizing the Land Pilot? Why do I want to do that? I want to get with you a little bit in the weeds. I had a discussion this week with one of our clients, a really good friend of mine. We're working on a couple of development deals, but he does normal land flips too. And he came to me with a couple of things, and we go into it in that a little bit deep and said, like a couple of things, a lot of the land flippers I talk to say, and especially people who are using our services say, and I just want to show you a little bit the magic of land flipping, what you can do, where you need to look at, like, that you really can build a business that makes you profit. Because what I see in the market right now is with a challenging market, and we have like people just like always, yeah, why doesn't my deal sell? Why does that not happen? Why does that not happen? And most of the time, it's because like it's just bad buys, it's just bad properties. And I want to showcase you a little bit with that customer I was talking this week to. I want to showcase you a little bit like what did we sell for him? How much did he give us? Like what happened out of that, and why does that make so much sense, right? And we will talk. And I prepared a presentation, guys. I prepared a presentation. I never prepare presentation. Who knows me, right? Like who follows me here on that calls, right? Knows I never do something like that. But today I did it for you because I want you to get the maximum out of that. And with that said, right, it's not pretty, right? It's not pretty. I always try to make it pretty, but my wife always says, Robin, when you build presentations, it looks like a 5-year-old did that, right? Like, you know, when they do like their little like sign man on their thing. So guys, let's talk today about how you build sustainable 6 to 7 figure business. And I needed a while to understand that. And the first thing which came in my mind when I was talking about that is land investing is a numbers game. And I really want to walk you through that today. What does all that numbers game everybody is talking about mean, right? Like what is all this land flipping about? And when you really look down on your land flipping, what we are, it's a machine that depends on 2 things: making offers, getting things under contract, and then selling them. That's the whole business model. Pretty simple, right? And the value add for a land flipper is the spread you negotiate with the seller between the purchase and the sales price, right? So what does that mean? The better you get at projecting the sales price and the better you get at negotiating an offer with the seller, the more money you will make. That's the simplicity of the business model, right? That's what it is. And what we see a lot of times is that the projection of the sales price is too high, or that the purchase price is negotiated too high, right? And I think the most important skill set that you need to learn on your journey as a land flipper is how to underwrite deals and negotiate them. And I had a tough time understanding that, right? And I give you an example. It's a lesson I got pretty early in my entrepreneurial career, right? I was talking with my business partner, and he said, it was like, let me make the numbers up a little bit, but let me get the conversation. It was in German, obviously, right? So I can't give it 100% to you, but I will try my very best. So I said, like, you know, if we sell it for $100,000 or $90,000, it doesn't matter. We still made a $90,000 in revenue. He said, yeah, this is how you can see that, but the reality is different. He said, look, $90,000 to $100,000 is a 10% difference on the sales price, right? But our cost on selling that is $80,000, right? So when we sell it now for $90,000 or for $100,000, we make 50% less profit when we sell it for $90,000. Right? And that's a principle you need to understand in the land flipping game. When your purchase price is too high, your sales price is too high, and then you need to adjust, the spread gets lower and lower and lower and lower and lower, and there's nothing left when you don't do your thing. So really underwriting deals, understanding your areas, negotiating your contracts with sellers, that's like the major skill you need to learn. And I can tell you in the next couple of weeks, we have like some amazing people here that will give you like some ideas how to underwrite deals, how to negotiate them. Yeah, some really cool people will come over in the next couple of years to in the next couple of weeks to really walk you through that. And the 3 biggest secrets, I will just like call them almost lies, because nobody is talking about that of the industry, are these 3. You will not sell every contract you get. What I see a lot is people send out mailers, do cold calling, do text messages, get that one contract, and are then like circling around that contract to get it sold. The reality is that will not work, because like in the industry, what we see, 50% of the contracts which people get will never sell for 3 reasons. They're underwritten incorrectly, so the pricing is not right. Second, the property has a miscondition. There's something not a fit. Like, I don't know, we had the other day a property submitted, which is just like it's a landfill and it was nowhere visible. But when it's a landfill, you can't really build on that, right? Because you sit on a huge pile of shit, right? This is what it is. There can be, I had turtles on a property. I had neighbors shooting on people that walk the property, right? These are all conditioned things which can come in the way. And the third thing, the third death of a deal is title issues that you can't solve, right? So that means when you look on your business, you should always have, when 50% is the standard, you should always have one more than you need. That means when you really want to have a sustainable business, you always need to have in mind from 10 contracts, 5 will sell. And the other 5, you need to write them off, right? Mentally write them off. This is like why it's so important to know your numbers, like how much mail do I need to send? How much cold calls do I need to make? How much offers do I need to make to get one contract? And then from how much contracts, how many do I sell? That's like your real acquisition cost you need to calculate, right? Like how much do you need to do to get a sold property? That's an acquisition cost you need to have in mind in a total cost calculation. And I don't see a lot of people doing that, right? And that's like an illusion, like which I see a lot of coaches out there do too. Hey, you get a contract, you sell it like tomorrow. That's not the reality anymore, right? It's harder to get contracts and it's harder to sell them. And then we have issues with the contracts or with the properties all the time, right? The second secret of the industry, or the second lie of the industry, is everything costs money. When you have the contracts, it's a third of a sale. It's a third of making money. You just have a contract. You need to do 2 more things after that. You need to make dispositions and you need to make the transaction happen, right? That means I talked with Kendall Lejeune in his Only Land Fans podcast, right? Like a couple of weeks. Who knows Kendall? Kendall, good friend of mine. Like I'm 6'8" tall. He is 5'6" or something like that, but we're good friends, right? There's a brilliant picture I can show you later. But hey, Kendall, if you listen to that, I'm super happy to see you in 2 weeks here in a conference in Dallas. So by the way, I will be on the Land Investing Summit from my friend AJ Sharma. If you want to come there, we have a little discount. We can share here in the chat later. It's a pretty cool lineup. It has pretty good people there. So just join us there. But he said, like, Robin, you know what's interesting? You were the first one I talked about that ever talked about a budget for dispositions, right? Because no matter if you work with a realtor, no matter if you do your own advertising with brokerless, with creating marketing materials, with ordering a due diligence, your hours, right? So having a VA qualifying their calls, having a call center, having a website, having a land.com subscription, all of that costs money. And you need to calculate that, right? Because in the end, I see it when you bring all the numbers up, we get a lot of deals submitted where people try to sell $100,000 property. They buy for 80 and they wonder why they never make $1 on that property. Because their underwriting is shit. Because there's so much costs on getting that property, so much costs on selling that property, that there is nothing left over, especially when you put your own hours into that, right? And your own hours are the most expensive hours in every company. Always be aware of that, right? Like always when I'm on a meeting, that's like the most expensive thing that happens in that company here, right? So and this is like you need to be like really conscious about that. Like, where do I spend my time? So have a budget. Everything really costs money. It's not that you just like do this and property sell. And when you follow right now, a lot of the discussions in a lot of the different Facebook groups and forums and schools and whatever is out there, since a month, I don't know if you've seen that a lot of the discussions are around dispositions. Because people see, like, especially when you look at successful land flippers, a lot of my friends, right, they're struggling right now with one thing. They rely on realtors as their only disposition source. And the realtors market right now is in a complete change with the new NAR regulations. And they're still insecure about houses, thousands of, we're buying a house right now. We just signed so many like different disclosure forms and whatever, right? And they don't want to set that up for 20, 30, 50, 80, $100,000 property, land properties, right? So the market is like pretty like mumbling right now what's going on. And then last but not least, you will not make every deal thousands of dollars. Guys, I have made more deals where I made less than $10,000 than I made deals where I made more than $10,000. Why is that? Because we all make mistakes, right? You build your business, and when you are a beginner, when you're in the beginning of your journey and you don't have 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 deals under your belt, then you will make every mistake in the world, right? Which will cost you money. You will not know if the title is clear. You will underwrite wrong. But in the end, I always say when you make $1,000, $3,000 in a net profit after all costs are paid, right? Then it's a good deal because it was $3,000, right? When everything is paid, like $3,000 is like for a lot of people an average monthly salary, right? So always be aware. Really, when you calculate, look, what is my net profit? Does that make sense? So let's go ahead. Here. When you work with us, the Land Pilot helps you, right? So when we with the Land Pilot help you with one thing, building an offer making machine, because we take care of the dispositions. You don't need to worry anymore about anything what's disposition related. You just fill it in, and we take care of the rest. So you really can focus on building an offer-making machine. And my buddy Joe McCall always says, when you make offers every day, you will always be a wealthy man, right? So what you really need to do in your business, that's the first thing you want to do, is building an offer-making machine. Because when you don't have that, when you just like focus from one deal to another, always getting the machine going again, costs you a lot of effort and money, right? So I see a lot of times people, I spend now $10,000, right? And get like 10 contracts. And then they are so busy for like 9 months to sell these contracts that after 9 months, they sold from the 10 contracts, maybe 4 or 5. And then they need to start the whole machine again. And that needs 3 to 6 months until you get it rolling, until you have the campaigns organized, the areas organized, right? Offers negotiated, offers come back, signed offers come back. With us, you don't need to worry about the selling part of that. You just feed offers in and feed contracts in, and we just take care of the dispositions. And I think that's that's like the biggest point why the Land Pilot is such an attractive offer. And we do much more than a realtor, right? It's not we just throw it on the MLS. No, it's like listed in different places. So you need to be really good at that, building an offer making machine. And I want to give you like an example of a customer. Our customer, like I said, I worked like on a couple of development deals with him. He has like a multi-million-dollar construction background. I don't know if he's here. I don't see him right now. But I don't know if he's here. But he enrolled beginning of the year, like in a coaching program, right, for land flipping. He has heard about that. He exited his company like 3 years ago, and he's looking for something to make some cash flow, right? So he started sending letters. I think meanwhile he does texting or something, but then the first deal started rolling in, right? And he does that on a really small thing. He just like wants to experience that, right? So he has currently 9 deals listed with us, and he has like 4 more coming right now. Right? And he started the first listing in May. What happens since then? From that 9 deals, 3 deals are currently in escrow. They're sold. 2 deals are expired, and 4 deals are still just in the marketing phase. They're still in the contract term, right? The contract hasn't expired, but probably 2 of them will close, right? So, and what did I hear from him, right? So we closed on the first deals. He got the closing statements, and these are quotes. Maybe you said them to yourself, right? You said them to somebody else, to your coach or whatever. Quotes like, oh, I didn't make any money on that deal. Or, hey, all my contracts are expiring, right? I have the feeling nothing is moving, right? I talk to too much people in the process. There's so much to do, right? And what I want to show you today is why all of that is bullshit, because it's just the reality in land. This is what I want to show you today. Because overall, from 5 contracts which have been in an expiration period, right? So 2 expired and 3 have been sold. That's a 60% success rate. So we are about industry standard with that. And this is where you should set your right expectation. You hear that word, Korean? This is what we talked about a lot in the past couple of days. You need to have the right expectation of your business. So as long as you hit 50%, you're totally fine, right? And don't go for the other 50%. Like, let that 50% sell. So, and here's like what I want to show you a little bit around. These are the 3 properties, right? So in total, he made on these 3 properties, after everything is sold, $21,800. Everything is paid, right? That's his net profit equals income. With the revenue produced, right? That's an EBIT, and the costs he had, it's an EBIT of 12%, which is like pretty strong. I know average in construction, national is 5% EBIT, like profit, net profit, like after everything is paid. Right? So, and I want to walk you a little bit through that numbers right now. So here's the first property, right? Can you see my screen? Can you see the spreadsheet? Good. The first property, he purchased that property for $15,400, right? We sold that property that was on installment sale for $42,000. That means $8,400 down and a $33,700 note created. We had closing costs of $2,000, and he told me his acquisition costs are $1,900 to get a contract that sells. Right? This is his total acquisition costs. So he doesn't want to hold the note. He doesn't want to do that. He just wants to get cash out of that. So, okay, we sell the note for him. So that means he bought it for $15,400. We sold it for $42,100, and we will sell this $33,000 note for approximately $30,000. So in total, he will make $38,000 in cash. Does that make sense so far? So then there are a couple of expenses. The commission, which goes to us and the realtors, is 20% on that deal, right? He had some transactional coordination costs of $499. He had onboarding costs with us of $600. Closing costs were $2,000. Acquisition costs were $1,900. And he got net out when the note is sold, $9,911. For what? He brought the contract. Everything is paid. That's what goes in his pocket, what he takes home in the end of the day. Who thinks that's a great deal? Who thinks that? $10,000, who would take that for doing nothing, right? Like, but like getting it under contract. So, purchase price again, $15,400. Sales price, $42,100. The net profit is around 10 grand. And when you look at the purchase price to sales price ratio, he buys around 37% of the later sales price. Makes a $10,000 profit. And now comes another thing. I just put it here that you get like something, how you need to run numbers. He bought this property with his own cash for $15,400, all in. He turned it around in 6 months. So he makes 65% ROI on his own capital. So if you have own funding available before you deploy it somewhere else, try to deploy it in your own deals. I don't know where else you get 65% in like yearly ROI on your property, right? So the second property, let's get into that. That property, he bought it for $64,000, sold it for $97,000, right? The commission goes down. Closing costs were $1,500 for the in total for the double closing. $1,900 acquisition cost was a cash sale. That means $9,200 in his pocket. Sold, done. Let's go to the next one, the third property. No, let's walk us through the numbers again. Purchase price, $64,000, $97,000. Net profit in his pocket. Purchase price to sale price ratio, 66%. We will play with that in a minute, right? The third property. Let's go into that. He bought it for $42,000. We have a cash sale price of $62,000. After all the expenses are paid, he makes 3 grand in his pocket. I think it's not much, but all of that happened in 1 month. I don't know how you would feel with 21 grand over a whole month in your pocket. And he brings more offers, and he makes more offers, and he brings more contracts. So what he didn't do in the whole process is he never got a due diligence done. He never created any kind of marketing material. He never organized a drone pilot. He never found a realtor. He never listed a property somewhere or bought a subscription to list somewhere. He never talked to a single buyer in the whole process or created a contract, sent it out for signature, followed up. He didn't do all of that. He never needed to find a title company or a surveyor. All of that is done. To be honest, when I just need to negotiate a contract for that, I go home with $21,000 a month. I'm happy with that for now, right? So, but when we look at these 3 properties, what I see, and this is what I've shown him, is like, hey, you did a poor job on negotiating your deals, right? Because when we look here, the first property is really good because we have here purchase price to sale price ratio of 37%. This is where he makes $10,000 on that deal in net profit, almost as much more than on a $100,000 revenue deal, right? But let's see how that would work when he would do a better deal on the second property, right? So let's say he wouldn't buy this property here for 64,000. Let's say he would buy it for 50% of the later sales price, right? So that would be, who's good in math, 48,500, right? Suddenly, is that right? 48,500, yeah. Suddenly our profit, like, let me do that again. We go back. He has 67%. He makes 9 grand in profit. He negotiated to 50%. He makes $25,000 in profit. That's a number you can influence. So every percent you can negotiate with the seller in this cost calculation, every percent you can negotiate down makes more profit in your pocket. This is the skill you need to learn. This is like, because the market price is what the market price is. And we are like wholesalers, right? Like we are like how does like a Costco or like another distribution company make money? They buy for cheap and sell for more. The sales price is set somehow, right? There's always like a recommended listing price, right? Like, I don't know, $499 for a TV. So when I buy that TV now for $350, I make $150, right? So I make around 33% in profit. When I buy it for $250, which is just $100 difference, right? Then I make 50% in profit, right? Which is around 30% more profit than before. So what you really need to do is negotiate it. Imagine he would negotiate that deal here not to for 50%. He would, let's say, do the other one was 37%, right? Let's do 97,000 here. 97,000. Oops. Yeah. What is it here? 97,000. So like this, he would have negotiated the deal here. That's $37,000 in profit. So let's stay with the 50%. I like that number, right? Let's go to the third property. Let's do exactly the same thing. When you would just have bought this property for, let's say, $38,000, right? He would have made 7 grand, so 3 times the profit. That's a 5 grand difference in negotiation. When he would have bought the property for $31,000 on 50% of market value, he would have made 14 grand for his negotiation skills. So every percent you can negotiate your seller down matters the most in your business. Because then suddenly, instead of making $21,800, you made $48,000 on this ones. And this is what you can influence. And I can just tell you, now you tell me, oh, Robin, my offers don't really do that, Then you haven't found the right deal yet. I see like offers, like I see properties like this coming in. We're closing next month on a property. We're selling it for 1.2 million. We bought it for $185,000. Right? The deals are out there. Yeah, but like that's like not doesn't happen every day. It just happens because we say to a lot of deals no and concentrate on that deals where we see the potential to negotiate them in the right direction that they make us money. Right? So this is like a number you can influence, is what you buy it for, right? And this is where you really need to have your numbers really on fleek. Right now, another thing is this year, the sales price, right? When you calculate right now, always have one thing in mind. Markets are pretty slow right now. Probably things you're selling right now, you got them under contract, let's say 3-4 months ago. So probably you made the first offer on that one half a year ago. That's your evaluation of the property. And I don't know if you do that, but what you should do is from time to time still run the comps in that area and see if your comps you had half a year ago are still accurate, because we see markets coming down. We see markets shifting, slowing down. So always like be aware, the more you negotiate, the more you know about your market too, the better you will be able to negotiate. And this is what I always say, like become a master negotiator with a seller and you will make a lot of money, right? And this is the one number you can influence. The second big number is the number of contracts you get, right? So when he makes out of 5 contracts, $21,000. That means out of 10 contracts, you make $42,000. And out of 20 contracts, that makes $84,000. So what does that mean, right? He had like 10 contracts, $42,000. Now imagine you would bring $20,000 of that to work to just double it, right? Like 10 contracts, it was $1,900 acquisition cost, is around $20,000 for 10 other contracts. That means you double your business every month when 50% is your thing. So that means the more contracts you have, the more you will sell, right? This is like what we have seen in our business. I started probably like you. I got a contract and was so focused on selling and got so frustrated because the property was landlocked. I had no clue what landlocked is, right? Always remember the dumb German, like starting 4 years ago, didn't know what a deed is and landlocked and the title and all that, right? So my evaluation was wrong. Like I went through all the same loopholes like you probably did too. But we just like started ramping up the contracts, like more contracts. Like we need, I was in multi-level marketing for a while and learned from one of my mentors there, always have one more than you need when it was through qualifications. It's the same here. Always have one more contract than you really need, because in the best case, you will have 2 contracts to sell, right? In the best case, you will know one of them will sell, and have a number X where you measure against too, right? Like we had a discussion in our management meeting this morning, and it was about like, this doesn't work. I said, what doesn't work? Yeah, we had the experience that and that happened. And I said, okay, how often did we have that experience? Yeah, once. I said, once, it's not a number you can measure towards. When you have 10 or 20 or 50, or depends on, then you can measure, right? Because when it goes one time wrong and you will always want to change everything, that's bad. But what you really need to work towards is like, how do I get 10 contracts? Okay, when you have 10 contracts, you know you will sell 5. How do I get 20 contracts? And this is where you really focus on. So with that, what we have seen before, that means 21, 42, 84. When you now combine seller negotiations and ramp up your contracts, that's maybe then your year 2 or 3 or 4 of land flipping. Look what happens to your numbers. With that numbers we had before, out of 5 contracts, you would have made, instead of $20,000, you would have made now 48. Out of 10 contracts, right, instead of $42,000, you would have made $96,000. And out of 20 contracts, instead of $84,000, you would have made $200,000 in net profit. Who wants to go home with $200,000 a year net profit in your pocket, personal income, right? I will do that, right? I will take it when I have less right now, right? So this is like the first step, and add the numbers up. The more contracts you have, the more you will go. So where I want to end this training with today is how you can really build with us a land flipping machine with the Land Pilot, right? The first thing you need to do, you need to build a contract generating machines and make offers every day. It doesn't matter if your budget is $500 a month for acquisitions or 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000. Really important is that you make offers every day. And when you don't have an acquisition budget of $5,000 in minimum a month in the moment, don't take any money out of your company for your personal life. This is what you will need to make like 7 figures a year, 6 figures a year. You will need $5,000 in acquisition marketing for sure, right? Build that machine. What you do, calling or text messaging or postcards or like mail, it doesn't matter to me. I see, by the way, everything working. Just a little hint, we see calling working the best right now, right? In combination with everything, and everybody who just does calling, text messaging, and letters and mixes that, these are the most successful people. That's omni-channel marketing. But when you want to have quick success, do calling, like little sneak peek for the next weeks too, right? You need to be patient in this business. This is what I see too. People are so focused on like making the $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 like tomorrow that they don't play the long game, right? You need to know your numbers. You need to know how much do I need to spend to get what out of it. And I'm really honest with you, in the beginning, it's normal that you will not make 20, 30, 50, $100,000 a deal, right? In the moment, when you really take all costs out, you will be negative probably on the first couple of deals. But getting in the positive, that's like your entrepreneurial journey, and you need to know your numbers. You need to know where you're heading to. The third thing you need to do is really become a pro at underwriting and negotiation. Because working with us, like we on the Land Pilot, we live on a commission in the back end. This is where we make our money. So the better the property comes prepared from you, the better, the faster we can sell it for you too, right? It's a win-win situation. We can't sell properties that are a piece of shit. Let's say, like, I don't know, it's a 0.1 acre somewhere in the middle of Missouri, and you think it's worth $100,000. We can't sell it for $100,000 because the reality is it's maybe worth $1,000, right? So it's like, not really, you can't sell shit for gold, right? Really, when you become a pro in underwriting and negotiation, no matter if you do your own business, if you do your own dispositions, or if you work with us, you will make more money. You don't need to worry working with the Land Pilot ever again about dispositions or funding, because we take care of that. We find solutions with you in the process, right? Like when it's a note sales or whatever, everybody's always asking, how does that exactly work? And so on. Hey, that's part of the service we're doing. And we come to that when we are in that situation, right? You need to sell a note. We take care of that. Don't worry about that, right? And what you will not run into is the scaling issues most other land investors run into. Because it's always a trade-off, right? Like you ramp up your contracts, you have 20 contracts, suddenly you need to sell 20 contracts, right? So that means you have a machine to generate 20 contracts that's sending letters and making offers and VAs and all that, and suddenly you need to do 20 due diligences, 20 times marketing material, take calls for 20 buyers, educate somebody, bring somebody. Your machine will stop at one point because you're not prepared on that. The only thing you need to do with the Land Pilot is organizing your acquisitions, and we take care of the rest because we have done hundreds of deals. I mean, I just did a deal count. We have been involved now in 1,200 transactions in the past 4 years, right? So we know how to run high volume. We know all of that. You don't need to worry about that anymore. What you just need to worry about is, how do I get more contracts? Always in the awareness, half of that will never, ever sell, right? And this is where you will make so much more money, because once you have that machine going, once you do the number you want to do a year, I don't know if it's 100 grand, 200 grand, 300 grand. You can start specializing because that machine, well, just need to adjust the acquisitions a little bit, right? We will always adjust dispositions, right? And I can tell you the last year was tough. Last year was really tough in seeing what's going on, what was working, what was not working, right? Like we need to adjust, complete our strategies. We're right now investing around $20,000 in 2 new disposition websites because what we built 2 years ago is not working anymore, right? That's a $10,000 investment for each website. Then there comes like more investment for all the online advertising and the SEO and however they name that, right? We will have next month's a call. I will bring my complete marketing team and they will tell you what they do, that you see that. It's like an insane machine. You don't need to do that anymore. We have that done for you and you just need to focus on getting more deals. And I always say that when that service would have existed 4 years ago, I would have gone with that service and just built a giant acquisition machine, right? So wait, do I have like one more slide? No, that was it. So let me wrap that up. You have like 2 things that influence your business, right? That's the number of contracts you generate and the negotiations you have with the seller. That will determine your success. And this is where you should really become an expert in, right? And working with us, we help you with all the disposition prep. We are happy to do that. That's what we do every day. We love dispositions, right? We talk just every day about this. You worry about getting more contracts. And the better your contracts are, the faster we can sell them, right? And we can make your income goals happening. And that guy we talked about today, he told me, Robin, I need to make 20 grand a month. That this makes sense for me. I said, okay, now you are there. Now you just need to bring us, we know our quote 60%, right? To make 20 grand a month, you need to bring me 5 to 6 contracts a month. Then we can make that with the deals you're doing in that areas where you're going, the amount of money you get under contract. And you will make more when you learn to negotiate the deals better. I hope that was kind of helpful today. I hope that was kind of like giving you a little bit of a direction, how you need to think about numbers and how you need to think about, taking responsibility in your company. Because in the end, you are always in the driver's seat about pricing, even working with us. The last decision about selling or not selling is with you. You need to make that, but to get the maximum out, you need to do the best job up front. Because the better things are prepared, no matter if you work with us or a realtor or whatever, the more you make your homework there, the better it will sell right now, right? And when you look at all the equity funders out there, right, they are masters in underwriting because they make a bet on you, right? They made a bet on themselves that they value your property so well that they get their money in a maximum slow amount of time out of there, right? So you want to become a master in underwriting and a master in calculation of deals and a master in making offers and producing contracts. This is how you make a ton of money in land flipping. And with that said, it's now 6:44. I open that up for Q&A. I talked a lot. Maybe I can drink a bottle of water. And I don't know if there are any questions. I'm just like wanted to transport that because that discussion I had, and I had like 3 partner discussions that were all in the same directions. Oh, my contracts are expiring. My deals don't make any money. That was not the reality because they just had a feeling about numbers. But when you really look at your numbers, they never lie, right? Do that too. You will always know where your business stands and you will always know where can I make the greatest leverage, right? And this is what I wanted to share with you today. That's like something I learned on the way. And I hope that you can do something with that.
Well, I know I got responses out the wazoo, but if y'all got questions, all you got to do is unmute and bring it up. I absolutely want you guys to do that. But I have to say, my initial response here is that I'm so excited that we're talking about this transparently and openly in regards to, I know so many people out there who use this as like a, look how much money I made a month land flipping, but don't talk about the fact that they lost contracts that month too. Even the greatest have a percentage that actually gets sold. And so I think when we look at like a land flipping business, in a lot of ways, we're looking at kind of a Connect Four game. You've got to be able to have multiple different pieces to get in there until you hit your Connect Four. And a few of them don't actually make it in, if you know that childhood game, that metaphor. So I'm just excited. We're talking about negotiation. Like that puts you in your responsive, like the responsible party in the seat to make as much money as you want based off your skills of one, knowing your numbers, and two, being able to speak well and negotiate with the seller. You know, the other thing, Robin, that kind of comes to mind in regards to that, that's so different with the land pilot from anybody else, is that let's say we've locked in a buyer and you go back and you negotiate with your seller and drop where you sit with your contract. All of that money goes into our partners' pockets because we're not looking at spread price. We're always a flat commission fee on the sale price. So if you're working your negotiation skills, you've got the ability to just continue to pile into your pocket.
Yeah, let me stack on that real quick. Like when I look at real cost calculations from people doing their own dispositions, right? I have been in like dozens of calls with partners where I ask them, what do you spend on dispositions? Oh, I just do this. Okay, what about this? Like, what about how often do you talk to buyers? How much money do you spend on land.com a month? How much money do you spend on your email server? How much money do you spend on your website? How much money do you spend on, I don't know, like finding a realtor? How much hours do you spend like on finding somebody to do that? How much hours do you spend doing that? How much hours do you spend doing that? So everything has a cost. And most of the people don't actually calculate how much is my own time worth, right? And we all are here. I think, I don't know how about you, but we're all here to really discover true freedom, right? We want to get out of our W-2s. We want to get out of like the business we're doing right now and we hate and like build a machine. And that's about automations, right? That's about that. So, and this is why I built the land pilot around a commission structured system and not a profit share, because it's more calculable for you. We can calculate that. You can calculate that. You can calculate what it is. And in average, what we are doing, it's much, much cheaper than you would do it for yourself until you're there, because we spend millions of dollars to get there where we are today with this disposition.
Let's jump to Dean's question in the comments. I answered with one of my favorite negotiation books, but he's asking, do you have any recommendations for where to learn to be a better negotiator?
Read that book and it's
I mean,
great.
there are, what was that, Dean? Sorry.
I read that book and I was looking for the next step past that. So I need to probably reread that book, but that's fine.
So in the end, I think sales conversations are always around like a couple of things, right? It's about like value, and you're in this case non-value, non-existing value in the property, that what you need to bring in. And then it's like urgency and scarcity, right? That can be something like you always need to give people the feeling you take something away from them, right? What I would a little bit think, I would really look a little bit through YouTube. I mean, there are thousands of sales books out there, and everybody has a different style, right? Like there are hard closers. I have a good friend. He's one of the best closers I ever met in my whole life, right? And he is a hard closer. He puts you in the corner and beats you as long as your face until you say, stop, I buy, leave me alone. I'm, for example, a really conversational closer. I close through the relationship, right? Because I bring people to bring a deal, to want to make a deal with me because they trust and like me, right? You need to find out, what is your way of closing? Like, what kind of guy are you? Are you like working with the facts or not? But what's the easiest way once you figure that out is start being a checklist closer, right? Ask, that's the easiest way to close. Ask a list of questions which you already know, right? Like, hey, do you think that this property is in a really desirable area? And they already know the answer. No. Do you think this property has this and this and this? They already know the answer. Oh, no, that doesn't have any value. So when you bring people in a position that they answer themselves already, like, hey, this has not any value, Dean is probably right, then they will be willing to give you something. And the next thing is what I see a lot is in the moment, there is more competition. Who sees more competition in the market with other land flippers reaching out? We see that a lot, right? So I see that people do deals with us, even if we offer less than the competition, because they see deals happening with us, right? So that's a long game, because I do my market since 4 years, and I send like messages, letters, postcards. I did TV ads. I do have online marketing out there. They see me every day or every week somewhere when they're online and have ever been in touch with us, right? Even if not, they get to hear from us all the time. And who would you do a deal with? That guy Robin, who reaches out to you every day, or Korean, who sends you once a letter or a text message or a thing? Because maybe you talk to 3 Koreans on your way. Sorry, Korean, I just like use your name right now, right? Like, but he went through 2 Koreans who just like didn't do a great job on the evaluation of the property, right? Like they were not able to sell it. They have you on a 6 months contract. They evaluated the property like 150,000. In reality, it's worth 90, and they have it for 95 under contract. This is what we see. And they went through that experience 2 times and never closed. I offered them for their property, which is like maybe $90,000 worth, $55,000, and they want to get rid of that. So they make the deal with me because they know, oh, Robin is still there. Robin is known for doing deals, right? Robin, I see Robin everywhere. He's not just a random phone number or whatever. So this is the second thing, that people need to trust you. But generally, what I would do is really find out what type of closer you are, right? Look, there are closer quizzes and all that, right? They're closing for extroverts or introverts, right? I have another friend of mine. He's a big multifamily guy, right? He's a complete introvert. He raised billions of dollars in real estate. He is not the guy like you will see in a network meeting, like going from table to table and being friends with everybody. But when he talks to somebody, that guy gives him money because he's so authentic about that, what he's talking about, and so straight. And you need to find that out for yourself, right? Probably you can just build a relationship and then say, hey, how do we make a deal happen? Right? That's what it can be too. And in the end, it's all about the value, and that people see that their property is not so much worse, or that they have a lot of urgency to sell, and you feed that urgency in there, right? Like, this is what I would say about these questions. I personally don't have I had sales coaches in my life, but they're all German, so probably they will not help you so much, right?
Okay.
But Dean, I will ask my friends. I will get some recommendations out maybe in a post, like with what they say. I will ask my closer friend. He will know some people. I can recommend that. And right now, who I love to follow are Ajay Sharma, right? Ajay does a really great job on showing how to do deals. AJ does a great job on how to show deals, how to close deals. From our industry, there's another guy, Alan Quintero. He's like a young guy, 23 years old. He does a brilliant job on that. Like, look a little bit around in the land space, and there are a lot of people doing a great job teaching that. There's so much podcast material about that too. It's just like getting a little bit into the weeds, right? And then try, because I think always sales and negotiation is something you just need to learn and see what works for you and what doesn't work, right? Does that help you a little bit?
Yeah, it does. The issue is I'm trying to cut that expense down, because me just going out and trying over and over thousands of times different things, I'll learn it, but that's pretty brutal. So if I can read a book or find somebody else who's, shown a path, I'd like to find those paths to make it so it's cheaper.
Yeah, I would just look on YouTube, like Google a little bit through what is there. Tom Hopkins and Brian Tracy's there, classic resources for sales training. Or there's
Just put this Q&A on your calendar consistently, because now that I know you want more negotiation training, I'll bring some people through who are good on the phones. I think I'm pretty good on the phones too, but I want to bring some people in that really know like the land side of things, and you can see them in action. So let's do it. Just drop this on your calendar. We'll see you every week. I also just want to note though that a big part of that is follow-up. Like you don't just call once, because like he said, he already forgot me the one time I gave an offer. I've had many deals before, and one of was my favorite. The buyer who ended up buying it from me called me and said, "How did you get this? I just offered a month ago this price." And I'm like, "Well, great. I can give you that price now because I actually had it negotiated lower." And the beauty of it was that it was just because I called the seller on the right day, and he was fed up. He was ready to just get it under contract. And then I sold it to somebody who had offered on that property a month and a half ago. So follow-up game, man. It's a huge part of it.
Yeah. Yeah,
We got one
I
more
see
great
that too.
question from
People,
Sylvia, which
people just give up, right? The follow-up is the thing. Like we send once a year, for example, every offer I ever made, everybody who got an offer from me, that's like around 10,000 people, right? We send once a year like a follow-up campaign on them. Just like they get the same offer they got like 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago. And with a follow-up channel after that with voicemail drops and text messages and all that, just stay in touch with the people. You will never know, right? You will never know what they're going to say. There was another question.
which actually, yeah, from Sylvia, and this kind of links in. She said, "Do you send 2 or 3 options with your contract or just one single number?"
Oh, that's a good one, right? It depends, right? It depends on what kind of property. So that's just my philosophy, right? That's not a general recipe, right? I think the less the property is worth, the more you can work with accurate numbers. When I look at partner contracts, right? Then we see like really everything working, from blind offers, from range offers, from like whatever it is. When you do big deals, I think neutral letters are still the way to go, right? Because they're more conversational, especially when you do like 6-figure deals with 6-figure profit. It works over the relationship, because somebody who normally owns like a $600,000 property will probably know that it's not worth like 250,000, which was maybe your first blind offer, right? But you can come to a fair understanding and maybe work something out. It depends, I would say. Like we don't do so much mail anymore, right? This is what I can just tell. We just like have a lot of like emails and all that. But generally, what you want to have in mind is a min-max range, right? You want to know your numbers that we talked about too. What can I offer maximum? What can I offer minimum, right? And get into that and land anywhere in this corridor. Generally, for example, properties under $10,000, I just offer $250. Like they just get a $250 offer always. Like, I mean, it's like, no matter if it's, I personally believe you can sell every property for a minimum $4,000. So I think $250 under that. And then I think up to $30,000, you can pretty work really good with like a first and a second offer. And over that, I would probably do 3 offers, 3 offerism. This is what we do, right? So we say like, hey, on the spreadsheet in the portal, you will see the calculations, what we have, right? And when it says like it's $100,000 property, we start, for example, with a $45,000 offer and work us all the way up to $65,000. Right? So that means the first offer is 45, the second one is 55, and the last one is 65. The 65 is that what stays then in the books, always the highest one, right? Because we just like think that's like probably the best one. And always have in mind, when you have an offer signed with the seller, never be afraid when you made a mistake in sales, right? When you made a mistake with your sales price, never be afraid to call the seller and talk with him and say, hey, you know what? I did my due diligence on that property. I can't give you like $65,000. Like I find out that, and that shit, like I can a maximum give you $45,000. And we are currently like we just canceled a couple of contracts of our partners, right? Because market shifted. They were sitting for a while, and we just ran comps everywhere again. We talked with our realtors, and we just said, hey, we can't sell it anymore because your buying price, right, is not that will be any profit for us and for you. You will bring $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to the table. And then you need to make the cut as an entrepreneur too, right? You just need to say you can negotiate with the seller, but when you can't, let the contract go, right? This is what I mean, like 50% are just not just sellable. So the reality, Sylvia, I talked a lot about that now, is I think you need to test what works for you. And this is like in the true sense, like I say it, right? Personally, I have the feeling it's a 1, 2, 3 rhythm is good, and then stay on them for like years. Like once, like I said, once we set an offer until they say fuck you, like sorry to say it like this, right? Because this is what we literally get back sometimes, right? Who got like letters with little like shit emojis on that and all that, like, and like some hate comments, right? Yeah, Adam got some, like yeah.
I actually I got it. I was talking to one of the guys at the mail house, and I got a really innovative idea from them, because one of my account managers, he developed a creative. So what they did was they sent out a blind offer, and it arranged a blind offer in the form of a check. But with that, they put a little note. Hey, I'm sorry if you feel like the offer isn't appropriate. What would you be willing to take for the property? So they opened a small little box in their mailers to allow somebody to respond with maybe you're close. Like for instance, I sent out a contract for 93,000, and the lady wanted 99,000, and well, I sold it for 2-3 times that. But getting that feedback where somebody is saying, no, I wouldn't take that. If it's
Oh, we lost him, right? Yeah, you need to give the people just options, I think, right? This is what it is in the end. Give them options. And I know people like I was on it. I listened to a podcast interview from Brand Browers and Joe McCall, and they, them, they're like the one runs the community, the Land Sharks. Joe McCall runs his own community, and like Brand was talking about, he just like sends blind offers, and he doesn't even have a phone number anymore on his like offers because he doesn't want to get on the phone with them. He just has a fax number. Right, like, so people are sending faxes or an email. This is like how he wants them to reply to him. And he makes like every year millions of dollars with normal land flips. He does nothing else than normal land flips, right? So it's really finding your own way of doing the game, right? And it changes too. Like 2 years ago, I would say, hey, don't do calling, don't do texting, just do mails, right? Probably 3 years ago. Today, I would say, hey, don't send too much letters, focus more on calling. I don't know what happens in a year. You just need to adjust and be flexible, right? And we do really everything, and we always get deals. And sometimes I don't get any deals in my areas. Sometimes I get like triple the amount I think will come in, right? This is the reality too. Yeah. Good. Are there any more questions? We're already 5 minutes over. Any questions you can I can answer for you today?
Robin.
Jean, how are you doing? We didn't do a deal for a while. I'm waiting for it. I'm
I
waiting
know.
for it.
I don't
You
have
know
any
it,
deals.
right?
I don't have any deals.
Yeah.
So I'm doing
Yeah.
well. I'm just like, you're doing good. Okay.
Perfect.
I was asking
Okay.
Corianne about the chat GPT and stuff, and and she
I
answered
can
my
just
question.
tell you
So
guys,
it's good to
when
know that you guys are utilizing.
Kellen opens her doors the next time, just like do it. It's worth the investment. It was like really for the whole team, a life-changing thing for me, for Korea, and everybody was on there. It was just like, it makes your life so much easier. Good, guys.
It's amazing.
I have one question.
Thank you. Yeah, Adam.
So, well, I want to ask to if you know the status or whatever, but I noticed that I was in the land portal and we got everything with one of our deals, one of my deals, checklist now it's set with the realtor. About how long after do you do a drone video in the process, like in the time frame on average?
We try to shoot for 14 to 21 business days. Why is that? First of all, we need to find a drone pilot. We work as a national agency, but second of all, it's always a lot about like the more remote it is, the longer it takes. And then with drones, you have a second thing, it's weather, right? When it's raining a lot or there's a lot of wind, that's like nothing we can influence, right? And especially when it's Florida, the past couple of weeks we were waiting a little bit, right? So the weather is bad and it's just like it takes some time, right? But we're in the market yet. We have a lot of changes right now in our internal processing, right? You will see that we will see in the next couple of weeks much faster realtor assignments, much faster. We have a complete new process in place. Spend a couple of $10,000 to get that in place. Because the initial approach is calling that doesn't work, right? It's hundreds of calls we did, like sometimes to get a realtor in an area. Same for the drone pilots. We're looking for alternatives right now. But in the end, it's just really like a pain in the ass, right? Because when the weather is the way with it in Texas, right? I just bought a subdivision in Matagorda County on the coast. Like, hey, we tried to get a drone pilot out there for a couple of weeks, but the weather was so windy there that he couldn't just fly, right? It was just like horrible.
I was looking at that We Go Look group a while back before I got with you guys. I don't know if you've ever looked at them. You probably have.
Yeah, we work with Fly Guys, right? So when you want to have a nationwide drone pilot company, we work with Fly Guys. I don't Droners.io is up and running again, right? But Droners.io is I didn't test them. They were bankrupt. I mean, Kim, you had like something to say about that?
Oh, no, it's not anything about this subject. I was waiting for you guys to finish your conversation. I have a
Yeah.
different question.
No,
But-
Adam, when the weather is opening up, right, then it will be done. It's ordered, right? They have deadlines too, and when we can't hold them, it's just the weather, right? This is what the only hold up because we order that and then it goes in an order process and it's just these two things. And when we have the drone footage back, it's normally 2 to 3 business days until the videos are produced and the listings are updated.
Yeah, last year, like I said, I was doing this myself and I found out about a company called WeGoLook.com and they're nationwide drone pilots. Maybe that's an extra resource I don't know if you've ever looked at them, just throwing it out
We
there.
go look. Oh, they do Droners right now because when I look, I want to work. Yeah, that's cool.
I've heard of them before, Robin. Yeah, We Go Look.
Yeah.
Mm.
I worked with them in the past, right? So, but they were just doing pictures back then. But yeah, that's good. It's an alternative thing. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
You're
We'll
welcome.
look into that.
Awesome.
It's great. Kim, what was your question?
Hey, so I was wondering, what do you use? Like, what platform do you use to pull list to market to of vacant land?
Oh, in acquisitions?
Yeah.
So I work with Alicia Jarrett. Right?
With
And
who?
she does all of that, right? With supercharged offers. From all the people doing that by themselves, they're like, I mean, the industry standard is probably what's their name? Land Vision in the moment, right? Like because you have like unlimited records or something like that, right?
Okay.
Then you have Data Tree, right? These are like the two standard ones, I would say. I hear a lot of great stuff from that. What Sumner Healy is doing. It's called. Oh, how is it called? Let me just like pull it up. PropStream, yeah, is one of the things. Wait, let me just like check you that through here. landinvestor.co, they have like somewhere, when you look up Sumner Healy, they have like a software too, which works, like I heard, really, really well, right? Yeah, this is like what I would recommend. Land Insights. Jared, thank you. Jared, you brought me home. Thank you so much, buddy. Land Insights is there is that where I hear it, that's pretty good. But I work with Alicia Jared because I'm a fan of business process outsourcing, and they just like take care of it and scrap it and do it and do litigators lists and all that, right?
That's that supercharged offers.
Yeah.
Supercharged, yeah.
I saw
I
her,
used them
I don't know if you guys presented to her or I saw her somewhere else, but yeah, she looked like she had it together, so.
Oh
She's
yeah,
good, Kim.
they're great.
We'll bring her back
She is
too.
she is really good. She will come back here too. If you need an introduction, Korean can make an introduction to AJ for you that you can just talk with them. I think they've really we do calls with them and mailers and like all this other stuff, and it's just working fantastic, I need to say, right? We had some own stuff on it, but for the basics to start, I think you just like don't need to worry about the data, right? You just need to take calls and make offers, right? This is where you need to worry about.
Automate it a little more.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm working with her now, and in prior times, and they're doing a phenomenal job. AJ's doing great. Prior times, I started with DataTree, then I had a prepaid account, and then I was pulling records, and then I started doing blind offers with the priced account, and
Uh-huh.
we still had a bulk of priced, of prepaid records with DataTree, but priced, you can actually pull them straight through that platform and get a blind offer. And they have the DataTree records. Lately, we were trying Property Radar because you can get property reports and all the information. They also give you 10,000 records a month. Now, if you're sending 10,000 pieces of mail a month or more, that's cool, but it's only $100 a month about. So I can research all the properties on Property Radar, get a better visible, granular visibility, and then I can still pull a list through Property Radar. And again, the price is only 99 to 100 something bucks a month, 120, I don't know, somewhere in there. But you get 10,000 records each and every month, and you can skip trace up to 250 individuals, like neighbors. So that might be good. I liked it because it solved a few different things in one platform and gave me, up to 12,000 records. Well, no, wait, 120,000 records a year, if you think about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's actually a good resource. It's just an all-in-one. If nobody's using it, they give you a trial, try it out.
Property Radar, or did you say something else?
Propertyradar.com.
Okay.
And they allow you to filter neighborhoods and create smart lists, and they've got all kinds of mapping features, all your property history. I used to pay X amount of dollars for a property report, then X amount of list pulls from DataTree, and that was 2-3 years ago. Now they've got a smarter platform, and most of you starting out don't need more than 10,000 records a month unless you're a player and you've got some mail to send, some money. So
One day.
for somebody that's just working their way into it, for $100, you got 10,000 records a month. And I think
Nice.
that's a very fair offer, because PropStream, I was paying $100 a month to skip trace just to be a part of PropStream, just to be a part of it. And then if I skip traced neighbors, it was kind of expensive. Yeah, great. They could send a postcard and other things on demand. But so what I found is, Property Radar pretty much took out DataTree and PropStream and some of the other stuff, consolidated it, and gave me an affordable access to a good record base. So
Okay.
maybe you'll just do your homework. But
Okay, that's
yeah.
awesome. Thank you so
Pro
much,
tip.
guys.
Good.
All right, y'all. I love it when we're sharing notes like that and just, checking what softwares are working for you, what aren't, because we really do have an abundance theory. And I think that that ties in to the idea that really this is about getting a lot of contracts and getting them out there. And, you know, the right ones are going to close and some of them won't. And that just happens that way. Thank you to everybody for joining us. Remember this, just stick this on your calendar. It stays the same every Thursday at 6 p.m. EST. We're going to bring you new coaches and new people and continue to grow our businesses together. That's what we're here for. And I'm always, always thankful that you take that time to spend with us, because I like you guys, but also to spend on yourself and your business. So with that, we say thank you, and we will see you next Thursday. Bye, y'all. Go get some contracts.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Rob.